when you have a colleague like this by your side? Will you still be able to focus on work? At this moment, there is a white sedan parked on the street. Ellen is holding her phone. She is carefully scanning Alex Xiao. Alex Xiao says, "There are no listening devices on me." Ellen puts away her phone and asks, "How did you know I have something to hide from you?" Alex Xiao replied without hesitation, "You suddenly came to our office for work. On the first day, you went to find Harry Ho. It's obvious that you have your own purpose." Ellen stared at Alex Xiao in front of her, lost in thought. Hopefully, I didn't misjudge the person. Then she slowly spoke. "Have you made up your mind, Alex Xiao? From the moment I tell you this, we are bound together. We might end up like Penny Chu." Alex reacted quickly. He quickly covered Ellen's mouth and said, "Then I won't listen anymore. I have a lot of things at hand. I don't want to get involved in more trouble." Ellen shook off Alex's hand. Penny Chu arrived at Department R long before, to investigate a special case, more dangerous than a homicide. Speaking, he grabbed Alex Xiao's collar. She died because of that case. I was sent by the higher authorities to secretly investigate the truth of all this. It's too late if you don't want to know. Blame your brain for being too clever. You brought this upon yourself. It's good to have your help. Let's expose the mole at our bureau together." Alex Xiao looked reluctant and said, "Aren't you afraid that I might be the mole?" She said, "I've already checked your background thoroughly. It's as clean as can be." Alex Xiao smirked evilly and said, "This is such a dangerous matter. You have to give me some benefits. A little motivation will do." Ellen helplessly thought, "This kid still thinks of good things at a time like this." She then thought it over. She nodded in agreement. "If you help me get the task done, I can consider going on a date with you." Alex Xiao immediately sat up straight. His face full of dissatisfaction, he said, "Taking such a big risk just to exchange for one date? At the very least, you have to spend a night with me." Ellen threw a punch after hearing that. Immediately, the car was filled only with Alex Xiao's screams of agony. Alex arrived at the home of an old miner below the mine shaft. According to the old miner, Chandler Chung was the #1 tycoon in Mountain District Q. He monopolized the entire construction material market. However, when the market took a downturn, his factories closed down. He owed a huge amount of debt. His wife couldn't bear the debt collectors and committed suicide by hanging. His eldest daughter died in a car accident. His youngest son, Joshua Chung, went to prison for causing harm to others. Alex Xiao recalled that Vincent Yang also said that this Chandler Chung, although he was once a wealthy man in his youth, ended up with a ruined family and tragic outcome in the end. He then called Daniel Zahn, asking him to help investigate the information of the people around Chandler Chung, including those who have passed away. As soon as he hung up, Ellen called him. The two met up like secret agents in a remote alleyway. Ellen mysteriously took out something and put it on Alex Xiao's wrist. He asked, "What is this?" The bickering couple are partnering up again. What kind of sparks will fly this time? Just now, Ellen asked Alex Xiao out. Take out a watch and put it on Alex Xiao's wrist. Ellen called it an encrypted phone. It can only make and receive calls. It has an automatic location function for your safety. Please try not to be separated from it for 24 hours if possible. I heard that you went to investigate the kidnapping case in M-Town by yourself today, Alex Xiao said. I always feel that Chandler Chung knew the kidnappers involved in the M-Town kidnapping case before he died. Why bury all the bodies in Chandler Chang's mine? The killer must be familiar with the mine. Maybe the killer worked under him before. The killer may be familiar with explosives. Perhaps the killer was once very poor, but became wealthy after receiving ransom for the murder case. Ellen has some doubts. She said, Are you still investigating the Chandler Chung line? Didn't everyone in your team give up on it? He didn't need to be involved in the kidnapping. Alex Xiao said with a solemn look, I think Penny Chu's death was too coincidental. Why did she happen to be killed when we were investigating Chandler Chung? Do you really believe there is no connection between the two? Moreover, Chandler is the only person I know who is related to the mine where the body was found. We just need to investigate his relationships, and we will definitely find something out. Ellen looked at the determined Alex Chow thoughtfully. Then she spoke slowly. Okay, tomorrow I will request Captain's approval. Let you and me partner up. Let's go investigate that Chandler Chung together, so that you won't wander around aimlessly from your group. Today, your group leader went to report on you, saying that you didn't complete the tasks explained by him properly. At this time, Alex Zhao is getting close to Ellen's warmth. Shall we two go alone? That would be great. Later, he put his arm around Ellen and said, Captain Mao and the others went to investigate the parents of the children who were victims. It was meaningless. I trust you more. Ellen punched him in the back of his head after hearing that and said, Nonsense. On the way back, Ellen's mother called. How is the new job, my darling daughter? Ellen pouted and talked to her mom about the current situation. She said she met the person she least wanted to see in the new environment. Ellen smiled, saying, But after today, he will become my loyal follower, obedient to my every word. He laughed out loud when he said this. On the other side, Alex Zhao was grinding his teeth in anger. In the afternoon, he secretly placed a hidden bug on her. At this moment, all her conversations were heard by Alex Zhao. If you have an invisible bug, where would you put it? Our detective Alex Zhao actually put it on the beautiful female colleague. That day, he overheard her talking to her mother on the phone. Her mother said, If you feel that the subordinates in the bureau are not cooperating, I will transfer all your original subordinates to the bureau. Ellen begged, Please don't do this. Last time, the deputy director was scolded by me, and the issue has already been resolved. You insisted on transferring him away. If you do this, no colleague will be willing to be friends with me in the future. Hearing this, Alex was frightened. He thought to himself, the deputy director was transferred because he made inappropriate advances towards Ellen. And I kissed Ellen. What kind of background does Ellen and her mother have? I really can't afford to provoke them. Later on, he heard the sound of gurgling water, and Ellen humming a cheerful tune. Is she taking a bath? In an instant, Alex imagined her taking a bath. Alex Zhao thought, Why did I only install a bug? Should have installed a camera. Can't see anything. It's driving me crazy. After Ellen finished washing up, she pushed open the door. She was only wrapped in a thin bath towel. Suddenly, she felt like there was something in front of her. She reached out and grabbed it. Alex Zhao appeared before her. There was a smirk on his face. This invisibility cloak isn't working. Saying this, he roughly pulled away the only remaining bath towel that covered Ellen. He pushed her to the ground. Ellen, just behave obediently tonight. Just as he was about to start. But he found that he couldn't take off his clothes. He was awakened by a burst of bird calls. Alex Zhao clenched his fists in frustration. Can't even satisfy me in my dreams. After going to work, the two of them arrived at the residence of the suspect Brian Ju. According to his grandson, Chandler Chung, after buying the mine, Brian followed suit. But he doesn't live here now. If you want to find him, you can only go to City B. The two have always suspected that the kidnapper is wealthy. This Brian Ju is indeed wealthy. The villa he bought is in the best location in town. Moreover, he is a fellow villager with Chandler Chung. Before taking over the mining area, he worked in the mining area. He was also the head of the exploration team. He is familiar with blasting techniques, which matches the deductions made in the kidnapping case in town. Daniel Zahn reported on the phone that Brian Ju established his own company many years ago. He is now doing well in business in City B. He is indeed a suspect. A wealthy person like him would never go back to the mine to look for the lost gold to sell. Ellen had some doubts, and she asked, There's no mention of Brian Ju's name in the police records. How did you find him? Alex said that the information in the records is of people previously checked by the detectives near the mine. I think the reason the hostage died in Chandler Cheng's mine is that the kidnapper must be familiar with the mine. It is very likely that he has worked for Chandler Cheng before and has been working there all along. So starting from Chandler Cheng's social relationships, there will definitely be gains. Analyzing it, Chandler Cheng's wife committed suicide by hanging, his eldest daughter died in a car accident, and his youngest son Joshua Chung ended up in prison due to causing harm to others. Can you check on his son? After all, he is closest to him. Alex Zhao's face turned red when he heard the word closest. He remembered the dream from last night. His hand rested on Ellen's car door. He said, "I dreamt about you last night." Ellen looked at Alex Zhao with a suspicious look and asked, "What was I doing in the dream?" "This slender woman is taking a bath at home." She pushed open the door and found a young man standing in her living room out of nowhere. He was seen pulling the towel off the woman and was about to do something inappropriate. Dreams like this left Alex Zhao wanting more. And at this moment, the woman is beside Alex Zhao. He is gradually getting closer to Ellen, slowly recounting the dream he had last night. The scene reappeared in his mind. "Dreamed of you taking a shower." Ellen looked at Alex Zhao with a lewd expression. She deliberately teased by pulling up his hem. She said, "Really? Besides taking a shower, what else did you dream about?" Suddenly, her hand grabbed his belly and twisted it into a pretzel. Alex Zhao screamed in pain. He broke free, turned, and ran. He said, "Why are you hitting me again? I didn't do anything in my dream." Ellen chased after him relentlessly from behind. She said, "Alex Zhao, I think you are asking for trouble." In the interrogation room, the two found Chandler Cheng's son, Joshua Chung. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison for attempted murder for stabbing businessman Bert Hao multiple times in a public place. Alex Zhao frowned. Bert Hao is the famous CEO of the R Group. The news of his stabbing created a big stir at the time. I remember Sam Su also investigated companies, including the R Group. At this point, Joshua Chung spoke up and said that Bert Hao is just a bastard. He caused our whole family to be destroyed. Joshua Chung began to tell the story of the incident. Bert Hao also started his career in building materials. But once his business grew, he began to steal clients from my father. He would rather lose money himself than let our family thrive. He forced my father's business to close. He didn't stop there. He sent creditors to our house every few days to harass and even physically assault us. They smashed things and hired people to rape my sister. My sister's car accident was definitely not an accident. It was definitely him. Later, my father fell seriously ill. My mother hanged herself and committed suicide. The speaker sounded agitated. I just want to die with him. Killing him is the only way to relieve the hatred in my heart. Alex Zhao seems to have caught on to something. He hurriedly spoke and asked, "When did Bert Hao rise to power? Was his rise somewhat sudden?" At his question, Ellen also instantly understood, looking at Alex Zhao with incredulous eyes. Joshua Chung said helplessly, "It seems to be around 95. Anyway, it feels very sudden to me. As soon as he emerged, he opened many building material markets in one breath, challenging our family." My dad seemed to have conflicting with him, but I can't remember the specifics. After interrogating them, both returned to the police station office. Alex Zhao walked to the analysis board. Bert Hao made his start. It's the 5th year after the major kidnapping and murder case in M-Town. Where did he get the money to make a start? Could it be the ransom from the M-Town kidnapping case? Ellen looked at the information in her hand. Some people speculate that Bert Hao's startup capital came from usury. Chandler Chung is known to have been involved in usury in the past. Daniel Zahn took over the conversation, saying that Bert Hao and Brian Ju know each other. You see, Bert Hao served in the military when he was young and then became a police officer after demobilization. Not long after that, he started his own business. Now he is thriving in many fields such as real estate, foreign trade, and logistics. When they were in the military, they were comrades. In the early days, Brian Ju worked for Bert Howe. Later, he started his own company. The other person with red hair is Dallas Gao. M-Town is a local. He only has one hospitalization record, which was at a mental hospital. In the diagnosis document, there is a family member's signature, which is Amy Gao. Amy Gao. Alex Xiao seems to have figured something out. Amy Gao is the mother of one of the murdered children. Everyone was shocked. Karen continued. Dallas Gao died of a heart attack in a mental hospital 6 years ago. The Gao family is in the herbal medicine business. They mostly live in the M-Peak area. The sentence was left unfinished. Alex Xiao exclaimed. M-Peak area? Isn't that the cliff where the kidnappers arranged for family members to be thrown off after receiving the ransom? As soon as this was said, Ellen was so excited that she couldn't close her mouth. The three of them were all here. All the clues are connected now. Dallas Gao is familiar with the terrain near the cliff, making it convenient to escape and evade police pursuit. Brian Ju is familiar with the mine. All the hostages were killed by his explosives. Bert Howe has been a former cop and is familiar with police tactics. He can remove the tracking device from the ransom. Karen analyzed that Dallas Gao is the nephew's uncle. How could he kidnap his own nephew and even tear the ticket? Perhaps it's because of this that he went crazy. Ellen immediately assigned tasks. Bob Zhang, you go to the mental hospital and Amy Gao's house. Find out about Dallas Gao's situation. Daniel Zahn and Benny Lee, you investigate whether the three of them have any conflicts with Chandler Chung. The several of them began working immediately. Ellen then turned her attention to Alex Xiao. It seems like there is something to say. She called Alex Xiao aside. Alex Xiao asked with a smirk. What's up, team leader Ellen? She replied. I want to talk to you about important matters and your lazy attitude. Do you want a punch from me? Alex Xiao held her hand and said, No, don't. It hurts when you hit me. How about we make a date for one night? I'll hit you on the soft spot. With that, he placed her hand on his own buttocks. Ellen took the opportunity to give a twist. Looking at Alex Xiao with a shy face, she said, Okay, let's do it tonight. Pay attention to this guy who is flirting with his female colleague. I didn't expect to get beaten. He was left with a lingering pain in his buttocks from her twisting. He secretly cursed in his heart that this woman was really ruthless. Ellen was still on the side analyzing the case by herself. I'm worried that even if the three of them are real kidnappers, we would be powerless against them. He noticed Alex Xiao's absent-minded look as he spoke. A folding fan flew over and hit him. His bottom was injured again. She asked, Do you think what I said is right? Alex Xiao straightened up. I will never dare to be lazy again, he said. Yes, now everything is just our speculation without evidence. Besides, Bert Howe is not someone who just sits around. With his influence, he will definitely hire the best lawyer. Ellen listened and tapped her fan again. She said, So we can't be too passive. We need to find a way to take the initiative and force them a little. Maybe they will reveal a flaw. Alex Xiao grabbed Ellen's hand holding the fan and said, So Ellen, as the team leader, what are your clever ideas? She said, I remember that Bert Howe has a precious son. Brian Ju also has a grandson. Let's kidnap them. Alex Xiao looked at the woman in front of him, who looked like a female thug. He doesn't know what to say. She said, You also need to come up with some ideas. Come find me after you've thought it through. She finished speaking, smiled, and left. Alex Xiao sat there stunned. He wondered if Ellen had gone crazy. Why was she always thinking of such shady tricks? But why would Dallas Gao kidnap his own nephew? If it was as initially thought, then that kidnapping was an accident. Dallas Gao might not have known that he was kidnapping his own nephew. Maybe they were just planning a robbery. Or maybe steal a car. After they intercepted Wayne's van, they found out there were 5 elementary school students in the vehicle. Dallas Gao's nephew was also among them. Afraid of being exposed, they had no choice but to rob and hide both the people and the car. After finding out that these kids all came from wealthy families, they decided to call their relatives for ransom. Although the two had conflicts before, they realized that there was no turning back now that things had come to this point. So they got the ransom as they wished. However, they were worried that Dallas Gao's nephew would go back and tell the adults, so they had no choice but to tear up the ticket. Dallas Gao could not bear the pain of killing his nephew and ended up in a mental hospital. Bert Hao and Brian Ju, on the other hand, used the ransom to do business, and their business grew bigger and bigger. They became famous businessmen. Suddenly, Alex Xiao was hit by a strong force, and his ears screamed in pain. "Alex, don't fall asleep." The colleague behind widened her eyes. How dare she even pull the tiger's ears? Alex is known for his bad temper. Alex Xiao grabbed the hand that was pinching his own ear, about to get angry. Raising his head, he saw Ellen getting angry. "The whole team worked all night, but you are here sleeping soundly," he said. "So, you're the team leader, Ellen?" "Haha, may I ask what you have to say?" Alex Xiao's unusually mild behavior surprised everyone. Team leader Ellen is like an animal tamer, huh? But they don't know the pain in Alex Xiao's heart. Her mysterious mother. Make a move with her connections. Then send him away, and it's done. In the eyes of colleagues, they still appear quite well matched. Inside a large hotel, the engagement ceremony of Alex Xiao's ex-girlfriend Jennifer Yao and Jay Zong is taking place. "You made it when I called you. I was worried you wouldn't have time to come," she said as she linked arms with Alex Xiao. He said, "You made me the godfather of the child. I definitely have to come." Is my godson still in the making? This statement made Jennifer Yao blush. She is just engaged now. It's too early to talk about marriage. At this moment, a greeting was heard, only to see a middle-aged man walking over. Alex Xiao widened his eyes in shock. Isn't this person Bert Hao? As he walked over, Alex recognized him immediately. Bert Hao said, "I've set my heart on your wife. Name your price." At this point, his disappointed son caught up from behind and said, "Dad, I'll handle my own affairs." Bert Hao said, "By the time you solve your own problems, the woman you're interested in will have already run off with someone else." Alex Xiao finally understood. So, his son has set his sights on Jennifer Yao. Now he's treating me as Jennifer Yao's fiancé. Well, then watch me perform. Alex Xiao stepped forward and said, "All right, I'm not greedy either. 8 million it is." Jennifer Yao huffily took Alex Xiao's arm and said, "Stop messing around. Are you trying to sell me off?" The other side of the corporate uncle smirked triumphantly. "See that? That's right. You can sell off your woman for 8 million, he said, taking out a check. And he won't even know. This is exactly Alex Xiao's plan coming to light. He muttered as the chairman of the R group. "Isn't it shameful to do such immoral things like buying women?" Bert Hao said calmly. "Watch your words, young man. It's as easy to deal with you as to deal with a cockroach. Take the money and leave. Don't stir up trouble for yourself." Alex said, "I forgot to introduce myself. I am Officer Alex Xiao from the R Sub-Bureau. I am currently in charge of investigating the major kidnapping case in M-Town 26 years ago. I don't dare to accept this money. If I take dirty money and get punished, how can I continue investigating Chandler Chung, Brian Ju, and Dallas Gao?" Bert Hao's expression changed instantly. "Wait and see," he said, then turned around and walked away. Alex Xiao's hand holding the invisible bug stopped in midair. He hadn't had a chance to plant it yet. "Who is this handsome guy? Jennifer, why didn't you introduce him to me?" Just heard a voice. He felt a force of gravity rushing towards him. Alex Xiao stared at the busted beauty in front of him. Instead of feeling pleased, he cursed internally. The bug was forced to be planted on this irrelevant woman. Luckily, a camera was just planted on Bert Hao, so even if we can't hear the sound, at least we can see the video. The woman also gradually calmed down. She picked up the phone that she had just knocked down and handed it apologetically to Bert Howe's son. Wait, look at the wallpaper on the phone screen. Alex Chow snatched the phone away. Alex Chow pointed to the woman on the screen and asked, "Who is this? What happened to her?" She said, "This is my mom." Alex Chow stared at the phone in disbelief. Why does this person look exactly like the composite image of 33-year-old Shirley Leong put together by the police earlier? Even the location of the mole is the same. So, I continued to ask about her. Where is she now? She said that she passed away when I was 1 year old. Why are you asking about this? Alex Chow frowned. He couldn't understand the connection between Shirley Leong and his mother. Inside the office building of the R Group, Bert Howe skillfully enters the office password. Every move of his was observed by Alex Chow, who casually noted down the door lock password. Then, he was seen constantly making phone calls. Alex Chow was getting anxious on this end, unable to hear what he was saying at all. Just saw him throw the cup to the ground. His body kept trembling. Pulling open the drawer of the table as if looking for something. What is he doing? A handgun caught his eye. Is he going to commit suicide or is he going to kill someone? He hid the handgun behind his back, slowly opening the secret room behind the bookcase. He walked briskly towards it. Very quickly. A long-haired woman appeared on the bed in the spotlight. Alex Chow became excited. This Bert Howe was actually concealing an affair in the luxurious office. But when he saw the woman's face clearly, he instantly felt a chill running from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. This woman is Shirley Leong, who has been missing for 26 years. This bastard actually hid her here. Could he be planning to kill Shirley Leong? Do you know what Stockholm Syndrome is? In the dead of night, Alex Chow drove quickly on the road, watching the surveillance footage of Bert Howe and Shirley Leong. There is no evidence in the kidnapping case in M-Town. We have no way to hold Bert Howe. Shirley Leong was the only hostage who survived back then. She is the only evidence. It would be a disaster if Bert Howe is killed and the evidence destroyed. Who called him just now? Who made him suddenly want to kill? Alex Chow triggers a brainstorm. Finally locked Brian Ju as his family member. Tell him that the police have been here. There is currently no evidence to prove that she is Shirley Leong. The police cannot send support over. It's a bit difficult with just me. Alex Chow frowned. In a moment of urgency, he noticed the watch on his wrist. Remember, Ellen once said that this thing can be used to locate. So a plan arose in his mind. At this time, Ellen was still working late in the office. The phone rang. Just as it was answered, she heard Alex Chow's anxious voice. Team Leader Ellen, I found Shirley Leong. Quickly, I heard a crash shortly after. Who are you? Let go quickly. Then, there was no more sound. On the phone, Ellen sounds tense, calling out Alex's name. But Alex did not respond. And all of this is just a play performed by Alex Chow. Just then, he took out his invisibility cloak and walked towards the building. He prayed in his heart that Ellen could find someone to help him. Outside Bert Howe's building, there were 2 security guards on duty. Suddenly, the automatic door opened. The 2 of them were frightened and broke out in a cold sweat. They thought it was a ghost. After Alex Chow safely entered through the main gate, he found someone still standing guard at the office door. The invisibility cloak only works for 5 minutes. Thinking of other methods might be too late. We have to go in hard. Alex Chow put all his strength into it. He punched towards one of them. The other person was too slow to react. He had no idea what was going on. His companion fell down. Suddenly, a force of gravity struck him as well. After solving the 2 people's issues, Alex Chow entered according to the password to the door lock in his memory. The door opened, and the invisibility cloak also lost its effect. Alex Chow didn't care about that anymore. He strode quickly towards the inside. At this time, Shirley Liang had already skillfully cleaned herself up. She walked out of the bathroom, thinking she was going to sleep with Bert again. She could never have imagined it would be a fatal shot. Just as Bert Hao was about to act, Alex Xiao arrived in time. He kicked over and said he wanted to kill you to keep you quiet. You're finished. In just a few moves, he subdued Bert Hao underneath him. Suddenly, a loud noise rang out. A burst of blood spattered from Alex Xiao's shoulder. He twisted his head to look back as he fell. Shirley Liang, wrapped in a bathrobe, was holding Bert Hao's pistol. She pointed the gun at herself. This woman was illegally imprisoned by a wealthy man for a period of 26 years. Today, finally someone came to rescue her from this dire situation. Unexpectedly, she ended up shooting at the hero who came to save her. Alex Xiao said in confusion, "I came to save you. Has Bert Hao brainwashed you, woman?" He watched as Shirley Liang continued to aim her gun at Alex Xiao, unfazed. Behind them, Bert Hao's eyes widened as he roared in anger. Shirley Liang was so scared that she was trembling when someone shot and killed him. He continued to say, "Give me the gun!" Bert Hao sprang up from the ground to snatch the gun from Shirley Liang. The bastard's eyes showed a murderous intent. At that moment, he didn't want to kill Alex Xiao. Instead, he wanted to kill the only witness, Shirley Liang. If Shirley Liang dies, there will truly be no witness left. Alex Xiao gritted his teeth against the intense pain in his shoulder. He stood up and walked towards Bert Hao. Fortunately, the fired gunshots hit the ceiling. Shirley Liang was pinned down to the ground. Bert Hao saw the situation was bad and ran away. Alex Xiao was afraid that Shirley Liang was in danger. He asked, "Are you okay?" Shirley Liang did not reply, only writhing in pain. Alex Xiao helped her up and found signs of life. She should be fine. He took off his jacket and covered her with it to keep her warm in her light clothing. He got up and chased after Bert Hao in the direction he was escaping. Suddenly, there was a loud noise. Bert Hao flew several meters away and fell backwards. Alex Xiao was shocked and stood in place. Looked towards the doorway. It was not someone else who came. It was their good partner Ellen. In an instant, Alex Xiao's confidence soared. He was about to say hello. Ellen swiftly pounced over. Alex Xiao dodged. Before the words fell, a series of gunshots were heard. Alex Xiao was pressed down by the pounced Ellen. He didn't have time to enjoy it yet. Just then, Bert Hao's bodyguard rushed in. Alex Xiao turned around and pressed Ellen underneath him. He leaned close to her ear and gently whispered, "Lie still, don't move." Turned his head and took out the invisible bulletproof vest, then walked towards the door. The gunman fired frantically at Alex Xiao. However, he emerged unscathed. The gunman was very surprised. What's going on with this guy? There was no response when the gun was fired at him. In an instant, Alex Xiao had already walked up to him. Grabbing two heads, he smashed them together. Ellen stood up nervously from the ground. "Grabbing Alex Xiao by the collar? Are you crazy? How could you do this? Were you hurt when you rushed over?" Alex Xiao raised the corner of his mouth with a smirk. He said, "I almost died. Thank goodness you arrived quickly." Ellen smashed a punch towards the top of the head. She said, "Stop talking nonsense. What's going on?" He said Shirley Liang is inside. In the sealed room, Bert Hao has been holding her captive for 26 years. Ellen widened her eyes in surprise. He asked, "How did you come here, by yourself? Is there anything else you would like me to translate for you?" Ellen explained that there was no search warrant. They had to break in themselves first. The others would be here soon. As she spoke, she took off her coat. Bandage Alex Xiao's wound. Ellen, who had taken off her coat, was left with just a small tank top. He said, "You care about me so much." Ellen couldn't be bothered to respond to him. After bandaging, Ellen asked about Bert Hao. Alex Xiao was only busy flirting with beautiful women and forgot about Birdhow escaping. Realizing this, he turned around and chased after him. He also didn't forget to tell Ellen to keep an eye on Shirley Liang. I didn't expect that he would come back as soon as he ran out of the door, because the door was blocked by Birdhow's henchmen, making it impossible to get out. Pay attention, that guy just forcefully kissed his female coworker again. Just now, Alex Xiao wants to go chase and capture Birdhow. Just as he stepped out of the door, he was scared back by a group of thugs. Birdhow is such a jerk. Did he call all the bodyguards in the building over? So many of them have received professional training. It's difficult for just the two of us to break through. Alex Xiao turned his head and made eye contact with Ellen to discuss countermeasures. Suddenly, he was struck with a bright idea. Just as this group of people rushed over, the surroundings instantly fell into darkness. The bodyguards were in chaos in the darkness, very puzzled about what happened. At this point, the request system sounds off. Power shield activated. Invisibility night vision activated. Alex Xiao sneered coldly. He shouted towards the back of the bodyguard's head. When it comes to fighting, Alex Xiao is definitely an expert. He picked up a wooden stick and started beating fiercely. All that could be heard at the scene were pitiful cries and shouts for help. Many people had no idea what was going on and were hit on the head. One person hid in a corner and used a walkie-talkie to call for help. Suddenly, a hand tapped his shoulder from behind. As he turned around, he took a heavy punch and fainted on the spot. Alex Xiao didn't take too long to knock them all down. Ellen stood in the darkness, looking confused. Why was there no sound? Alex Xiao had already started up the monitors to observe Birdhow's movements. In the video, Birdhow is giving orders to a group of bodyguards in the hall. Alex Xiao couldn't help but be amazed. There are still more people. If they come up again, we won't be able to hold on. It's not wise to continue fighting with this injury. Alex Xiao quickly came up with a plan in his mind. Walked up to Ellen and patted her on the shoulder. Although Ellen couldn't see anything in the darkness, her reaction was very quick. Threw a punch that almost hit Alex Xiao on the spot. She heard Alex Xiao's voice and finally relaxed.